Okay, so you've gone through the due diligence process. You've been asked hundreds of questions, and you've got a feel for what they think of you. And then, surprise, they want to talk to you about the terms of the loan, the terms of the equity, the goals to be achieved in whatever business that you're in. We're going to start a negotiation now, once they've done their due diligence, and it takes various forms. So I want to go through some of them and try to provide some guidance on kind of how to handle the most significant issues in these negotiations. The first one, and probably the simplest, is bank loans. There's not a lot of room for negotiations with bank loans, unfortunately. As I have said many times, really go after the regional, local banks. They'll have a little bit more leeway, or the CDFIs, the community development loans, that even have more freedom to make independent decisions of any regulations that they're under. So the bank loans have come down to interest rate and the negotiation thereof. The bank may offer many different forms of loan and many different ranges of interest rates and for the duration of the payment period. So you want to be able, perhaps at a small business, start paying interest only for maybe a year and pay principal and interest thereafter. So you have some leeway to negotiate the length of the term, the interest rate, and when you actually start payments and the form of the payments. But they'll have various features of these loans that may be of interest to you. So go ahead and negotiate the best you can. But bank loans are pretty strict. Why? Because they're regulated. They don't have a lot of leeway. Good luck with it. You can get a bank loan if you have the right qualifications. Friends and family negotiations are a little bit more sensitive because they are people you know and trust, and they trust you, and you want to do the right thing by them. The nature of the negotiation is going to be a lot less strict, certainly a lot less strict than banks, but in other forms as well. You, first of all, want to do the right thing by someone you know. You're looking for value in this relationship with both of you. So in the case of a loan, just like with a bank, but much less strict, you're going to come to agreement on an interest rate. It's going to be a little bit higher than normal bank loans because they're taking a risk, because they're probably not so strict on when you pay it back or how you pay it back. So you've got a lot more freedom to play with the variables of interest rate, when to start payment, when to start paying interest and principal, and the length of time that you have. There's a lot of room for negotiation. But as you do this, make sure you're taking into account the family demands that this loan represents the person you're borrowing the money from, and try to accommodate their needs as well. Make it match up to their ability to loan money and your ability to pay it back. Equity financing with friends and family or business associates is also very loose. You are likely to get very friendly terms and way short of what a financing organization is going to present you in a term sheet. But again, be fair on your assessment of the value of your company, making sure that your associate or friend or family member is getting a fair deal. You are probably going to know more about this than they do. So don't take advantage of them. Make sure that it's fair and you've thought of their needs. Some business associates may be very familiar with equity financing, and they may present you, some strict terms. They're going to be a whole lot less stringent than these formal equity investing groups that I'll tell you about in a minute. So agree on a fair market value for your company. Explain the basis for it and for the amount of money you want from a business associate or family member. Give them the percentage ownership of the company that they deserve for the amount of money that they're investing in you. That's friends and family. Strict equity financing. And I'm thinking of the angel groups, later the institutional investor crowd, venture capital and private equity firms are going to be very, very strict about this. After the due diligence, you're going to be presented with a term sheet. Again, I'll offer to you to send you a typical copy of a term sheet, what they look like. You can see the kinds of terms that we're talking about here. Email me or phone me and I'll email you one shortly. But back to who these people are. This is going to come down to the first point of negotiation is the value of your company. You might as well get on with it. They're going to have a view of what the market will bear for the kind of company you're in and the market you're in and how far along you are. And you may have a very different view, but their view and then coupled with your view is going to have to come together. You're both going to have to give a little. But if you want their money, you're probably going to be giving more to them than they're giving to you in terms of valuation of your company. Think about it a minute though. If you're a startup, there's no other way to determine the value of your company other than what the market will bear and what investors are willing to value it at as a basis for making an investment in your company. Try to understand their point of view, and they will try to understand your point of view and perhaps educate you on theirs. It'll be a tough discussion. But look, once you get by this major hurdle, things will go a whole lot more smoothly. You'll be going through all sorts of different terms, like restrictions that they're going to put on the CEO of the company in terms of what actions they can take with respect to selling equity to others, with respect to how much spending you have, spending limits, in other words, and all sorts of other limits on actions of the executives of the company. Another one is selecting a board of directors, and the equity group may want to have a board seat, and the list goes on. So this is a lot more sophisticated. It's well known how to do. You will need a lawyer to advise you, so you understand what all of these terms are going to mean, but the equity crowd will also explain it to you, but you need advice from your own attorney. So that's equity financing. Finally, to a certain extent, grants result in a negotiation, particularly around the scope of the project that you're going to take on, for which the grant is being made, and what they expect you to accomplish over a certain period of time. They want to see that their money is going in the right direction and you're getting the results that they wanted. So that's the extent of it. They're not loaning you money or taking equity positions in your company. This is money that you don't have to pay back, but you've got to get results and you've got to have ongoing reporting. That's another part of the negotiation. What does the reporting look like? What is the frequency of the various reports? What do they want to see? And you're going to have to agree to those kinds of things. So that's a little bit about negotiations. There's a lot to it. Just like any negotiation, it's got to be the two parties negotiating have to get something out of the deal. It can't be one-sided. You win and they lose. Don't think of negotiations as a win-lose kind of situation. It's a meeting of the minds. Both parties have to get benefit from this relationship. So good luck with your negotiations and have a great day while you're doing it.